welcome. We're here with Dr. Diana Aga, Professor of Chemistry at University of Buffalo. The University at Buffalo is our GenTech Customer of the Month. So we're here on site talking to Dr. Aga about her important work. So, Dr. Aga, tell us a little bit about your work at UB. You're a professor of chemistry. Tell us a little bit about your research.
Yeah, so I'm an analytical chemist, but unlike many analytical chemists, I focus on environmental problems. So we do a lot of environmental analysis of contaminants that you find in water, in soil, in plants, and we focus mostly on organic contaminants that are very low levels.
Okay. Now we've got the AGA research group right here at UB, named after you. Can you tell us a little more about that specifically and your role?
Yeah, so a lot of students that come here in our PhD program, they get very attracted to research that they can see right away, like the applications, the relevance, and environmental chemistry seem to be a very popular choice among the students that come here. And I'm really the only one in the department that does the sort of things that we're doing in terms of looking at chemicals in the environment. So I get a lot of students joining my group. Typically, I run between 8 to 12 PhD students, and that's a large group. Most of the group here in the department have maybe 4 or 5, so I have a very large group. And they work on many different topics. Also, sometimes they collaborate, sometimes, well, all of them have their own topic, the environmental problem that they focus on. But they also have some commonalities. They work together, especially with large projects. So my research is funded by EPA, USDA, NSF, NIH, and so there are large projects that sometimes has to be done by more than one student.
And one of our themes this month is for GenTech is Western New York and kind of local pride. And so I did read that you've done some research specifically around the Great Lakes, which is local to this region. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so there are 2 things I'll talk about. One is the industrial chemicals like PCBs, PBDs. PBDs are flame retardants, and they are very persistent in the environment. Even though they have been banned since, so the PCBs have been banned in 1970s, PBDs had been banned like almost 15 years ago. We still find them in the environment, in the fish. So we collect some fish samples from the Lake Erie, and we could analyze them, and they are bioaccumulative. So some of these fish have high levels of PCBs and PBDs. So that's relevant in the area. We also have research on pharmaceuticals in the environment. So a lot of these pharmaceuticals that we take are not really absorbed in the body, so they go to the wastewater treatment plants, which are released in the environment, and some of them accumulate in fish also. We have this one research that have a lot of publicity, where the antidepressants that most people are taking are being found in the brain of the fish. And so that's kind of concerning, right? Because the behavior of the fish changes, and so it has long-term effects in terms of their biodiversity, because now their mating habits change. They don't recognize predators, so they may have a population collapse. So all of these are really of high relevance in the Great Lakes region.
And then, due to your research, have they been able to make any changes or recommendations? Like, has there been any tangible action?
Yeah, the pharmaceuticals in the environment, I've been doing this since 2005, and after several of our publications have been released, there are actually some communities and organizations that sponsor collection of drugs that are unused or that have expired, or if some patients, like cancer patients, have passed, they have a lot of medications that before they would typically just flush in the toilet.
Right.
But now they would collect them and dispose them properly. So there have been changes.
Okay, that's great to hear. All right, so in general, more generally, like what makes UB in your department like so awesome?
Oh, a lot. So
Of course.
yes, yes. So the UB community for me personally, I like it here because it's very diverse. There's a lot of faculty diversity and student diversity. The department itself, we're small enough that we really interact on a personal basis. I mean, we get together in summer, we're friends, and with the students, we have really good students that have nice personality. They're not too. So in some universities, there's a lot of competition. I mean, there is competition here too, but it's a friendly competition. They collaborate, and a lot of my students, when they need something that is not in my group, they can easily access other faculty and other students. So there's a lot of collaborations going on. And for my research, because it's quite interdisciplinary, I could find almost any expertise that I need. You know, if I need a microbiologist, I could find one. If I need an engineer, I could find one. So it's broad enough. The university is big enough that you can find almost any expertise that I would need for environmental research.
Amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's very